Okay, welcome into KC Sports Tonight. Marlia Campbell here. Katie Marr is on her way back from the Big 12 men's basketball tournament. She's been covering that all morning. She heard from Commissioner Brett Yormark, KC Sports Commission President and CEO Kathy Nelson. So a lot to report on there. She will be here momentarily. But in the meantime, we're going to run through some of our top headlines of the day. We'll start with the Big 12 tournament. Men's basketball tournament tipped off today, first round. So you have the lower seeds who did not earn a first or second round bye. Tipping off this morning, 11:30 was the first game, Arizona State and Baylor, followed by Cincinnati and Utah, just wrapped up a little bit ago. If you're listening to this live with us, you're getting ready for BYU and K-State. That one is at 6 o'clock. A lot more to come on that in just a moment. Rounding out the day today will be Colorado and Oklahoma State at 8:30. That's going to be the nightcap. One to watch if you are a KU fan, because Kansas did earn the double bye. They're the 3 seed and will be the evening games throughout the tournament. They're going to play the winner of Colorado, Oklahoma State, then TCU. So Colorado, Oklahoma State winner plays TCU. KU will get the winner of that game, which will be tomorrow night at 8:30. So plenty to watch for if you are a KU fan and you're waiting to join in on the fun later this week. But we're going to start with the action today. That is K-State and BYU. That one gets underway, again, if you're watching this live with us, in a little under half hour from right now. These two teams have already faced each other this season, back on January the 3rd. That was a game at Bramlage Coliseum. BYU ended up taking that 83-73. Might as well have been a different lifetime ago. BYU was 10th in the country at the time, 1-0 in Big 12 play, 13-1 on the season. Kansas State, 9-5 in the non-conference, 0-1 in Big 12 play. We had no idea what was in store for us. Couple things that make this game different now than it was back then. One, Richie Saunders was still playing for BYU. This was pre-ACL tear. Looked like BYU had a good chance to get a double bye in league play. They were the team to kind of beat in that top tier that we ended up seeing duking it out for kind of the 1 through 5 split down the stretch. Obviously, things took a sharp turn for the Cougars, so this is not as impressive as a BYU team as we saw 2-3 months ago when they were playing in Manhattan. Kansas State was still being coached by Jerome Tang at the time. Obviously, Wildcats also took a very deep dive to the point of where K-State parted ways with their head coach of 3 seasons. Since then, Matthew Driscoll has taken over the lead, picked up a pair of wins in his limited time serving as interim head coach, but we have a new ball game tonight. So what does K-State have left to play for? Not a whole lot. Their long shot of making the Big 12, or postseason basketball outside of the Big 12 tournament will be winning it all here in Kansas City. Based on the data we have, unlikely that happens. However, that is the magic of March. We saw the K-State women last week make a run to the semis. They're the first 12 seed in Big 12 women's basketball history to ever make it to the semis of that tournament. Anything can happen. This one feels like a long shot, but again, that one gets underway at 6 o'clock tonight at the T-Mobile Center. So if you're not there, make sure to tune into that one. We will also have post-game coverage. We have Gabe Swartz, who's often on this show, in the locker room right after the game. So win or lose, we'll be hearing from these guys afterwards. Winner of that one, as I mentioned, moves on to take on, let's see, I didn't mention that one yet, West Virginia. So again, if K-State wants to make a run at it, it starts tonight. We heard Driscoll last week. That's going to be his messaging to the team this week is come March, you go 5-0 in 1 week, and we're having a very different story. So we'll see how that one goes. Moving on to the Jayhawks. Kansas will have to wait until Thursday to get in on the fun. They still have a couple of days to sit back and watch. We know they're still in Lawrence, obviously. Bill Self held a press conference today at Allen Fieldhouse. They'll come to town either tomorrow, maybe early Thursday, with how short of a drive they are. Each school kind of depends on the go. I played basketball at Wyoming. The Wyoming football team stayed in a hotel in Laramie the night before home game. So each coach likes to do things differently. We'll see what Kansas does this week. But all that to say, they will be in Kansas City on Thursday, taking on either Colorado, Oklahoma State, or TCU, who Kansas has beaten all 3 of those teams already so far this season. TCU also feels like a lifetime ago. You'll remember Kansas started the Big 12 season 1-1, then faced TCU and ended up taking them to overtime in what was one of the most bizarre finishes. I think their statistical odds of losing that game with a couple minutes to go was like 98%. That was a big win for this team. Ended up, as we saw, turning the tides after that rough start to the Big 12 regular season. After that, winner of TCU, Oklahoma State, Colorado, one of those three, against Kansas, will move on to play the bottom half of that bracket. So we could see a Kansas State matchup in the semis, a KU K-State matchup. Otherwise, it'll either be Houston, West Virginia, or BYU to move on to Saturday. So what is at stake for the Jayhawks? Couple things. One, you're still fighting for seeding. Obviously, Kansas has an at-large bid locked up. But depending on how these next couple of days go, you could be looking at anywhere from a 2 seed if you win out in the toughest conference in Power 5 men's college basketball, period. You could also be looking at a 5. I wanted to say 4, but I think you could dip down to 5 with an early loss to here in Kansas City. So make it to at least the semis. I think we're looking at a 3. You make it to Saturday and make a run at it, could be dancing up to a 2. So a lot on the line for Kansas. Also a lot on the line to just stay healthy and play some good basketball heading into NCAAs. We didn't see the best stretch in the final 2 weeks or so of KU's regular season. It's not just winning this time of year. Obviously, that's the be-all, tell-all. It's what quality basketball are you playing right now? Kansas had a little bit of a struggle down the stretch. The Cincinnati game was really rough for them. The Arizona State game was just bizarre down in Tempe. So making a big run this week and getting a confidence boost not only helps with your seeding, but gets this team firing from all cylinders when the big lights of the big dance come on. Okay, next on our agenda before we get to Katie Marr, we have more Chiefs news. It feels like these have been tumbling in over the last couple days because they have. It seems like every couple of seconds we're getting another alert of a free agency move. That's what this week is going to look like. Yesterday, the big one, big 2, Travis Kelce. Of course, us getting confirmation from national reports of NFL Network and ESPN that Kelce would return for a 14th season. Kelce confirmed that on the Pat McAfee show today himself, said he's going to run it back for another year. Huge. We also swept under the kind of shadow of that, I suppose, was Kansas City signing the defending Super Bowl MVP, who is also just happens to be a running back, which fills a massive need for this team. Yesterday we said it, today it was confirmed. Isaiah Pacheco was a free agent who was likely going to be released. He has been traded to, or been picked up rather, by the Lions. So Isaiah Pacheco, drafted here in 2022 in the 7th round, ended up making a splash early on and really being able to pick up big chunk plays for this team alongside Jerick McKinnon at the time. He kind of slid in there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 1-2 punch. Last year, this group really struggled, he and Kareem Hunt. Pacheco's issues mainly stemmed from visibility issues and kind of finding the right lanes. Those two guys combined for one rush over 20 yards. So there was a serious explosiveness problem. Kenneth Walker, who the Chiefs just picked up, had 10 by himself, 20-plus runs last season. So big explosive peg for this team this year and certainly fills a gap that the Chiefs need to fill. Speaking of, we just made it to the end of our rundown before you were supposed to hop in.
Speaking of filling gaps.
Speaking of filling gaps, welcome, Katie Marr.
She's back.
Katie, what you missed is we did a quick run-through of all of our top headlines of the day.
Ooh.
So you made it back in perfect timing. However, what we haven't gotten to yet, look, you're even on the rundown. Hang on.
Katie at Big 12.
Katie's Big 12. I was crossing my fingers that we were going to use that. Okay. You were at the Big 12 tournament today. We just kind of went through the bracket, KU's path, K-State's path, Pacheco to Detroit, which I know you were also covering that today. Very busy. But let's talk about Brett Yormark's avail this morning. Big 12 commissioner holding his yearly avail. He always does in Kansas City. Katie, I've covered that the last couple of years. He loves Kansas City.
He does.
Yeah.
He started his whole press conference by shouting out Kansas City Sports Commission President and CEO Kathy Nelson. A lot of love for her.
Who you also spoke to.
Who I also spoke to today. Just a whole lot of love being shown for KC throughout the last week with the women's tournament and then this week as well. This so clearly is just an area that eats, sleeps, and breathes sports. and really buys into basketball, especially in March. And, you know, there are so many fans now that the Big 12 has expanded west. There are a lot of fans out there, I feel like, that I see on Twitter calling for move the tournament to Vegas, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get the turnout that you get here in Kansas City.
I was in the Mountain West. We played our conference tournament in Las Vegas. We were at the Thomas and Mack Center. There are anytime we would go out to eat, you would see fan bases from a different conference. You're not the center of the show there. Literally, there are actual shows going on in Las Vegas at the time. You're competing against Cirque du Soleil and, you know, all these
The Big 12 men's basketball conference. It's the best conference in men's basketball right now, and they wouldn't be the center of the show there.
No, they wouldn't.
No.
It'd just be one of, I think there were 5 when I was playing there. It might be up to 6 now, but it doesn't. It's like a little event in one of the hotels. Like we were kind of a sidebar. While in Kansas City, you are the event of the week, the event of the month.
And I was there on Sunday as well for the championship game, which wasn't even between local schools. It was between 2 of the furthest away schools in the Big 12. West Virginia, the furthest east, and then TCU being 8 hours down of a drive in Fort Worth. And it still broke attendance records. The most attended women's basketball tournament in Big 12 history throughout the whole week. And
KU lost day 1?
Day 2.
Day 2.
Yeah. And K-State went further than expected, I guess. So that probably helped out with attendance numbers a little bit, them going until the semifinals. But yeah, I mean, just so much excitement for it being in Kansas City. Multiple coaches have shouted out KC for the hospitality and the warm welcome and like seeing all the fans that have come out and everything. But yeah, you said it. Yormark loves Kansas City. He reiterated that. He said he had some bars today. I think Yormark wrote down some sentences that he was like, I'm going to say this.
You know, I'm going to deliver this one.
They were good words.
Yeah.
He said all eyes are on Kansas City this week. He even brought up the Darren Peterson and AJ DeBansta first overall NBA draft pick debate. He was
Who did he pick?
He said, I don't know who the first overall draft pick's going to be, but he's coming from the Big 12.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that was a cool little bite from him. And another kind of bar that he dropped, he said that they are the second best league in America behind the NBA. So little bars from Brett Yormark there. He spent, I would say, the most amount of his time answering questions about A, the court, and B, the SCORE Act, because he was a part of the group. I don't know if you saw Nick Saban was a part of the group, and some other people in prominent power conference and other college football and basketball stuff that visited like the White House last week, talking about, you know, just the future of college athletics and everything. Brett Yormark talked a lot about how much he likes the SCORE Act, said that he likes it so much. A big reason why was because it doesn't say that student athletes are employees. He said he's talked to a lot of student athletes who don't want to feel like they're employees.
Also,
but
if you're an employee, you can get fired.
Exactly. Exactly. You guys don't want to work yet. Don't work.
Yeah.
Stay in school. But yeah, so a lot of it was that. And then a lot of it was, of course, also the court, which just continues to make headlines.
What do you say about the court? Because you and I have both experienced it in person.
Yeah. My biggest, I think, red flag and confusion with what he was saying about the court was, so we just had an entire tournament on it. The women just played an entire tournament on it. Multiple games, dozens, over 100 student athletes playing on it. He said that he hadn't talked to any student athletes about it, like how they liked playing on it.
I did. I which is
you did. You and Gabe did.
I was in the K-State locker room after their first round win, and the interesting thing to me, we asked a couple players about it. All of them independently said the court was hot, like warm to the touch, which
I think I mean from stepping
kind of
on it
disturbing.
at the debut night.
Yeah.
I do think I remember feeling a little bit of it. Granted, I wasn't like touching it with my hands or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not falling to the ground and I'm not like playing basketball. So like different feel, but like I just had like sneakers on. And I think I get what they're talking about just from my short experience on it. But Gabe and I went around to some of the players after the Arizona State Baylor game. We went to the Arizona State locker room and asked them how they felt playing on it. And most of them did say the same thing. They felt the warmth for sure.
Yeah.
one said that it was slippery when like sweat and stuff gets on it, but then the other two that we talked to said that they didn't think it was slippery. So kind of different, but the overall across the board, everyone's saying it has more bounce. Like one player from Arizona State was like, I don't dunk, and I dunked today.
Oh, interesting.
So
I thought you meant like off the dribble or something. You're talking
No.
about like springiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because when
Hey, let's
Mark
just play on a
Palos and I-
trampoline next year.
That's what a lot of them said. They were like, it feels like there's a trampoline under there.
Yeah.
But when Mark and I were talking to the inventor at like the debut over a week ago, he said like there are like it's like a spring type of thing on that third bottom layer. So yeah, I mean, really the only negative thing I think that we've heard about it is that like the warmth is weird and some are saying it's slippery.
The latter seems important.
Yes.
The warmth, I don't know how much. I think I've told this story on the show that I played a non-conference game at Denver University, and their basketball court is on top of their ice rink. So it's like ice and then like a 1-inch wood slate. It's freezing. It's terrible. Like I'd rather be warm than cold, I think, when I'm playing. But
cold?
yeah.
No one
but
wants cold toes.
So I know, why are we playing basketball on ice? But slippery is certainly something to track.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because at the women's tournament, we were originally told that the 3-point line would light up when threes were made, and that the kind of lane, I guess, would shatter, not literally, after dunks. Did you see that kind of animation like in game today?
I didn't see any dunks, but I spent like a minute or two out in the stands, and I did see the 3-point line glow.
It did? Okay, that's
the three
cool.
was made.
Cool.
So I have seen that, and I noticed that on Sunday for the championship game too.
Okay, I think the first 2 days they had some kind of kink and they hadn't figured it out yet. So
yeah.
there you go.
The iPad.
If you watch the K-State game, again, if you're watching us live right now, 13 minutes from now, you'll hopefully be able to watch. Hopefully, I'm hoping K-State pulls out one. It'd be nice to see them make it to day 2 after the year that they've had.
Unfortunately, I just don't see why you're losing first round.
No,
that was another thing that Brett Yormark talked a lot about today was AJ DeBansta.
Yeah.
Like, he brought him up. He purposely, in his, like, he had, like, a 15-minute opening statement, basically. That could be an exaggeration, but it felt like 15 minutes. Where he just talked about a whole bunch of different things, and one of them was we have 3 players in our conference, and men's and women's, that I think should be National Player of the Year candidates. One is AJ DeBansta, and then the other 2 were on the women's side, Olivia Miles and Audie Crooks.
Yeah.
So Brett
That's
Yormark
cool.
loves AJ DeBansta.
Yeah, clearly. It's like, how else can I talk about AJ DeBansta?
Literally. Didn't bring up Darren Peterson.
No one asked. Okay, you also talked to Kathy Nelson today, who is the busiest woman in the world. She's getting ready for a World Cup here in Kansas City. For folks who don't know, just a huge, huge part of getting the NFL draft here, the World Cup here, getting and keeping the Big 12 tournaments here. I mean, she has done so much for the cities. So yeah, you got to talk to her one-on-one. What'd you guys talk about?
Yeah, first we started talking about, the women's tournament and just how huge it is for Kansas City, that they had the most attended Big 12 women's basketball tournament ever.
And, sorry to interrupt, a good lesson, and if you'll build it, they'll come, because it's only been at the T-Mobile Center for 3 years now. Before that, it was at Municipal Auditorium, which is a much older building and has a smaller capacity. So pretty cool seeing if you move this to the same quality facility, people will show up.
And I was actually told that a big reason why they had to move it from Municipal to T-Mobile was because when they expanded the conference to 16 teams, they literally, like, their locker rooms essentially were over a bridge, and that just wasn't going to work anymore with 16 teams. So
barely worked with 12 teams, one could argue.
No,
so.
They deserve to be there. It's awesome that they are. And so we started by talking about the women's tournament, just how impressive that was, and kind of like with the if you build it, they will come. Like, she really just is emphasizing how much, like, if everyone in Kansas City wants to come to this stuff, and they're coming to this stuff if their teams aren't even involved. Like, there's so many KU and K-State fans that were just at the championship game on Sunday. I saw so many Jayhawk fans walking around today. I saw K-State fans there at 11 in the morning. They don't play until 6. So she really just emphasized how much this city loves sports, and how what was the exact word she used? Kansas City is like, it's a shining star in March, I think was the word she used.
Cool.
It was in my 5 o'clock story, or 4 o'clock story if you go and watch it. But yes, just how much the city loves basketball. And then she told me that they're expecting a $34 million economic boost from having the tournaments here for 2 weeks. I asked her if they had a projected attendance number total that they think, like, how many people will have visited Kansas City over these 2 weeks. They don't have that yet, but they will after the men's tournament, she told me. But yeah, 34 million economic boost for KC. That's huge. And that's because everyone buys in. Like, Power and Light buys in, and all these people buy in, and they just come and experience stuff.
And to your point, with the expansion of the Big 12, you have people coming from literally all over the country. It's not just the Midwest anymore. And like we talked about a lot with the draft, it gives people kind of an opportunity to dip their toe in the water of what Kansas City is, and maybe and probably come back. Okay, you mentioned you talked to players in the locker room a little bit too. Is there anything else you learned today, you talked about, you covered?
Gabe, because the Sun Devil alum that he is, was very interested to hear how the players felt about, Bobby Hurley. His contract's coming up, and it looks like they're not extending him, and just how these players are kind of still managing to, like, play like they have something to play for. And they all expressed a lot of love for their coach, and, they all said they came there to play for him, and it's, it sucks and they're not happy about it, was what I believe one player said, 2 players actually. So that was kind of an interesting non-Kansas City thing that's kind of going on in the Big 12 right now, the whole situation at Arizona State. But they got a big win over Baylor today, and they're going on to the second round. So that was interesting.
Last one before we go. Again, this will benefit folks watching this live because the K-State game starts in 8 minutes. But little preview ahead to K-State BYU tonight. What are you watching for?
I'm watching for if K-State plays with life. Because at this point, they really have nothing else to play for. They're not going to the NCAA tournament unless they win the Big 12 tournament championship game. And I found interim head coach Matthew Driscoll's comments after the Sunflower Showdown on Saturday to be very interesting, because he kind of spent the whole – it kind of felt like we were watching an obituary, like, almost unfold in front of us. He kind of spent most of his press conference shedding light on, we know the end of the road is coming, and now all my staff are going to have to find jobs, and players are going to have to look for new homes, and blah, 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 blah. So really, I'm just kind of interested to see if K-State plays like they're fighting for anything. There have been games this season where they, even before Jerome Tang was fired, where they didn't play like they had anything to play for in the middle of the season. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes, but I do think BYU takes it, and AJ DeBansta probably has a big game.
In the world of the transfer portal, we talked about this with the Chiefs when they were eliminated from the playoffs. Every game is an opportunity for tape for wherever you're going next. It's either a job audition for the Chiefs or elsewhere in free agency, or if you're getting picked up or cut. Same opportunity for these guys. To an extent, at this point, you kind of have your body of work, while in the NFL, you have far less sample size, especially if you're a bench player. So that's something. I said this at the beginning of the show that I've been on teams. I think my senior year, we were a 3 seed in the tournament, but I've been on at least a team that was like a double-digit seed in this tournament, in the conference tournament, not this tournament. And the messaging you have is like, hey, we go 5-0. We get a 30 for 30 made after us as the worst team to ever come out. And it's a serious long shot, but hey, I think you lean into the March Madness lore a little bit. I know Driscoll talked after the Sunflower Showdown about following in the steps of the women's team. They were a 12 seed, third youngest roster in program history, and they were really a couple plays short of making it to the championship game. I was at that TCU game, which was a 12-1, and it was, I think the score ended up being like 10 or 12, but it was closer than that for the majority of the game. It just kind of fell apart at the seams towards the end there. So I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah.
This is March.
Then we look forward to tomorrow and Thursday. Kansas obviously has a very legitimate chance at going all the way. And frankly, we're going to have an Elite Eight caliber game in Kansas City between I mean, there's a decent chance that KU could have they could go for a 2 seed. They could have a higher seed in the NCAA tournament than they have in the Big 12 tournament, depending on how this week goes. So it speaks to the caliber of the conference.
And everyone in their path that they could possibly play in their first round, which is the quarterfinal round, they've already beat this season. And I think KU might have the most favorable path to get to the semifinals, which they would most likely play Houston, who they've also beat this season. So
and then you don't have to face Arizona until you get to championship game. So time will tell, but certainly an exciting time of year. I am excited for tonight's K-State game just because I would love to cover an upset and cover a day 2 game. Otherwise, we will look ahead to Thursday until we cover another local team. But Katie, thank you for hustling back safely from the T-Mobile Center. Glad you're here. And folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here same time, same place tomorrow.